Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So for the first time in a very long time, or actually, probably this was probably the best Monday I ever had in my life, because I just had a very rough spring break where I was bored out of my mind. Gotta understand, we got some big art shows coming up, and I don't want to be spending money, so I didn't really travel this spring break. And everybody being away, everybody around my social circle being away, kind of took its beating at me. I made a lot of art, but I need that social connectivity. And so today I helped a student problem solve quite a few things, and I find myself a lot less irritable. I actually problem solved instead of just seizing up and getting angry and all that. I seize up a lot. A lot of times, everything seems so easy in retrospect after the fact, but at the moment I can't think of the right words to say. I can't think of the right way to de-escalate stuff. If I could play my life in hindsight, I would do it really well. Right? A lot of relationships, a lot of drama, a lot of conflict. Oh my God, every conflict I've ever had, if it could be played in hindsight, would play out very differently, right? Now, part of the reason I call myself Peter Dislike is that a lot of times, whether or not we are successful in life has very little to do with, has much more to do with whether or not our views are popular than whether or not we're doing the right stuff, right? So, for example, when it bothers me how we completely shut down during spring break, right? There's a lot of discussion on work-life balance, but you know what? Binging and then stopping work completely is just the opposite of work-life balance, right? So what do I mean by that? During the heat of the semester, I can't tell you how many times I feel like I'm falling apart with everything that's going on, and then you completely shut down work for like a week and a half. That's not work-life balance. Imagine if you had an eating disorder where you ate like crap for like weeks on end, and then you stopped eating for like a few days, right? I don't think most people would consider that a healthy eating balance, if you will, right? But yet, that qualifies for good work-life balance. It doesn't make any sense to me. For some reason, it works for a lot of my colleagues. I think it's more of a cult than anything. I think if they actually work the way I want to work, I think everybody would be a whole lot happier and be more connected with what's going on, right? After all, everybody comes back to spring break completely lost, it seems like, the students at least, right? But I first noticed this problem when I was working on my PhD. When I was working on my PhD, I took a course on software design. There's a lot of group projects because, after all, software design is done as a team, right? And a lot of times, I worked at a different wavelength than a lot of my classmates, and it created a lot of drama. So, for example, we get the project, and I would be light years ahead of them in whatever we were doing, and I got frustrated. I hadn't developed the teaching skills that I had today, so I got frustrated at the rest of my team, and I told them to go fuck off, and I got a B in that course when the rest of my team got an A, actually. I was taking another course on operating systems, and we had group projects as well. And a lot of times, I can't get my work done when I'm staring at the screen and just pounding my head on the wall, right? A lot of times we would step back and do some kind of social activity. Oh my God, it clicked. Unfortunately, my classmates and I would be out for dinner celebrating a classmate's birthday or an anniversary. All of a sudden, I get an idea for the project. Nobody wants to listen to that at that moment in time. But that's when I come up with my best ideas, right? So, for example, this Valentine's Day, I went out to a steakhouse in downtown Phoenix, and all of a sudden, all those great ideas clicked, right? How to deal with a student, a publication I'm working on, how to negotiate with my boss. I'm never going to come up with those ideas sitting in front of the screen or in front of my boss, right? Unfortunately, it's great when I get to work on my own pace, right? All of a sudden, I get a good idea on my art projects. I just go out and do it, right? That's why you often see me doing my art projects in the craziest of locations and times, right? I used to live out of my car, and I had a favorite parking spot where there was charging for electric cars. I had an adapter, and I would do my bismuth art there, sometimes in the middle of the night when I get a great idea, right? Unfortunately, I can't teach my class in the middle of the night when I get a great idea, right? And it just goes to show that, unfortunately, the idea for the cure for cancer, the cure for COVID, for chemical element 119 could very well be stuck in the heads of somebody who has a divergent lifestyle and isn't being heard, right? That's kind of unfortunate, right? I'm dealing with long COVID right now, and to think that the solution to my problem is in the head of somebody that we won't even listen to just because they beat at a different wavelength, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.